Hello, everybody. It's Graham Cove with the first My Music of this week. I hope you're all feeling well. If you're listening to this on repeat some other time of the week, there you are. Hope you're well as well. In a minute, I'm going to be speaking to someone that might run rings around me because I'm going to be speaking to Saturn Lane. Yeah, she's heard that one before. But first, we're going to watch this video. Hello, Sutton. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
You know, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you very much. Thanks for asking. Yeah, apologies for the dad joke. I make no apologies for it, really. When you get to my age, that's what you're good at doing.
No. It's awesome. It's all good.
Yeah. So, 8 o'clock in the morning. I've got you up early. What would you normally
Yes.
be doing on a Monday at 8 o'clock?
Oh, well, on a typical day, like a Monday at this time, I would be at work, but I'm actually off today, so it's kind of just a free day to just live life, you know?
What's work for you then, outside of music, obviously, which is your passion and what you want to be doing? What?
So it's a lot of administrative stuff, like expense stuff, like I don't know, a little bit of a bridge between a finance and a like administrative role, but yeah, that's what I do to make the money to then put into the music. So it's a whole system,
Hey,
you
look,
know?
that will all stand you in great stead. I'm sure loads of people have told you that over the years, but that will all stand you in great stead when you become a famous musician and you need to look at all of those figures and they go, you're not fooling me. I know my stuff. Those figures are out.
Yeah.
I want more than that from the merch. So when did you first start making music?
Um, well, so I'm thinking of different answers in my head because I first started writing songs when I was like 11. Or
Wow.
no, I think less than that. I'm trying to think. I have this songwriting book. They're all terrible, but it says 2008 in the first page. So then I was 10 according to that. But I started writing songs around 10, but I didn't really like create a song like where it had production and like came out or anything until I was maybe 17 or something, 18.
Right.
So yeah, it was always something inside of me, but I don't know, I think I was like just shy and like unsure of myself, and that's why I kind of just waited for so long. But I do feel like it's something that's always kind of been there.
You're one of these young artists that, can use the internet and you can do some covers of songs that you really like, etc. And people then like those and it starts to get a bit of interest. Do you feel like you're in a great time at the moment to be able to put your skills out there in that way?
Yeah, I think that um, there's definitely pros and cons in the sense that like I have mixed feelings about so I went to school for music business, so I sometimes I get a little bit too into like the how it all goes down part because we learned about it for so long, but um I have mixed feelings about the internet, like in terms of for artists, because on one hand, it's amazing. It puts you in direct, contact with everybody and it's more exposure. On the other hand, there's more competition, maybe now than ever, because it is so accessible. So there's some pros and cons to it, but also too, the labels tend to now want artists that are pretty much already there. And like, back in like 20 years ago, let's say, A&R was super important and like artist development and you didn't have to already be like an influencer or something to get noticed. Like it was just on your talent, your drive your, whatever else, but it wasn't based on only numbers of like, oh, well, how many followers you have, what's your engagement ratio or something, like it's a little bit different now. So I find that I don't know, I think there's pros and cons to it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Do you think that's why we've still seen the sort of rise of those programs, America's Got Talent, X Factor, and what? I mean, they kind of come and go in terms of popularity. We seem to have got rid of most of them over here now, but we still got The Voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, is it because in some ways that's still the opportunity for just that raw talent to find a way through when if that person hasn't come out from behind the cushions before now and built up that following on Instagram or whatever, that may be that opportunity.
Well, I think too it depends on which show we're talking about, because some of them are just purely singing shows and others are like it could be anything, so those kind of shows, like some of these like acrobats and stuff like on AGT, like you're not really gonna find much of that going viral online. I mean, maybe once in a while,
It's
but
hard to fit it all in the screen, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So I think things like that wouldn't really be too affected by like TikTok or whatever. But I think more of the singing shows, they are still popular, but I remember like growing up, they were huge. You know what I mean? I feel like they're still big and relevant now, but they were like when I was younger, like oh my God, American Idol was like an event. Like everyone get home, we have to sit down and watch this at whatever, like it was so different. But yeah, I do think that I think there's always going to be some niche for that because that's also television, it's not just music, it's also like TV programming. So, um, it's just a different form of that.
Yeah. Now, I've got to ask you, were you born Saturn? Is that your real
No,
name? No.
no, no,
No, come on.
no. So the story with that is that I used to live on a street called Saturn Lane, and my real name, my first name is Jessica, but my last name is just very Italian and like nobody could say it or
No
spell it
one
or
can
anything.
spell it.
So
Yeah.
no, so I was like, that's not really ideal for a stage name. You want something that's like they'll remember it, it's short, it's something kind of creative or something. And I was like, you know what? That's just the first street that I ever lived on, so why not? And here I am.
It's a great name. I love
Thank
that. I
you.
love that it's actually got, a personal reference point for you. You just didn't pluck it
Yeah.
from the sky, but it was the first street that you lived on. There you are. Fun
Yeah.
fact there, folks, that you can all now remember and keep forever. And when Saturn is
Yeah.
incredibly famous, you can say, well,
Oh,
yeah, I
thank
heard
you.
it there first on my music.
Thank you.
So in terms of, you used to always be writing songs in terms of words and stuff like that. But what about, instrumentation, actually creating music? How does
So,
that happen for you?
so it's kind of interesting because I would consider myself a top liner, like as a songwriter, meaning, in case people don't know like what that is, um, I I write my lyrics and my melody, but it's not that I know basic chords on a piano. Am I like great at piano? No. Can I survive a simple song? Yes. But like I kind of just always would write by like it just came out of me, and like I would either write it in my notes on my phone or when I was a kid like in a songbook, or I would record voice memos. I have so many voice memos on my phone and they're
Yeah.
just ideas, like it just kind
You'd
of
sing a
happens.
little line
Yeah, or like
and write it
if
down.
I yeah, like or sometimes like I'll have just a melody and then I figure out lyrics later to it, or I have just a cool idea for a title or just a cool idea for a set of lyrics or whatever, and then other times it just comes out together already. But and then from there I would take it to a producer, or sometimes I've also had where we write to a track. So I sit down with the producer and they say, okay, I have a bunch of these tracks. Do you like any of these? And then I listen to them, and then there's usually one or sometimes a few that I'm like, "Oh, I like that, like, let's do that," and we just play it, and, like, it just kinda happens. So, my process is, I think, a little bit different than other songwriters because a lot of them tend to play guitar or do kind of accompany themselves more on an instrument than I do, and honestly, I probably should work on that, but, it can be a little bit limiting at times, but it's, yeah, I mean, so I feel like I write in that kinda way.
Yeah, but you're still young. I mean, there's loads of time to get into all of that. You know,
Yeah.
it just the thing is, if you create a space where you have a career in music, which is presumably what the the hope and the dream is. At some point, you'll be doing music all the time, and then you'll have more. You'll be surrounded by that more of the time, and I guess that's where people then start to pick up guitars and keyboards and learn a little bit more,
Yeah.
especially when you're surrounded by musicians all of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like my dad has been playing guitar for like 40 years and he's so good. And I'm like, "Oh, why didn't I just ask him to show me?" Like but it will figure it out, like
Yeah, but dads are dads. They're
yeah.
uncool, right?
He
They're cool, but they're uncool at the same time. You
yeah,
don't you don't want to be
yeah,
going up to dad and go, "Yeah, dad, teach me how to play that." And
yeah, yeah.
don't have time, and you don't have time for that. You're busy. You're trying to. This is the other thing as well. My generation, if you wanted to do music, you just didn't work. And nowadays, well, that's true. It's true. You just you kind of busked your way around
Yeah. I
or whatever.
honestly, I wish I could because I don't just have like a bankroll like that where I could just do it and not have to, I have to work, but if I didn't have to, I totally would. Just
Yeah,
travel around, do a show.
but then again, even though some of those people are immersing themselves in music on a day-to-day basis as part of their way of affording to make music, are having to spend their day kind of working. I mean, I found a couple of people on TikTok over the weekend or whatever, and they're constantly playing, doing lives on TikTok, and people are gifting to them. Just keep
Wow.
playing. Yeah, but it's like it's just constant. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, do they actually get time to then sit and be an artist, if you know what I mean, and actually write? But probably not a huge amount of time because they're spending all of their time online playing cover songs or whatever that people want to hear so that they raise money. I don't think there's an easy answer to it. So take me
Yeah.
back, young Saturn, listening at home. What sort of music was going in from a young age?
Oh. Well, I remember like when I was really young, I think some of my so like super young, probably like Disney Mermaid, like Little Mermaid and like Disney music and
Yay!
whatever, yes. And I saw the new movie and it was so good and I was so like
Oh,
5-year-old me was so happy about
you
that.
were happy with it,
I
were you?
was, yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
so it's different than the original, but that's
That's
what
okay.
life is. Like things change and I think that's great, and I feel sorry for her because everyone has things to say and like they're just so unkind, but why does that matter? Like it's who cares? Like the times are changing. Like this is a good thing, but a lot of people are afraid of change and they're set how they are, and I'll stop talking there for my own sake. But um, so you know, so I think I started out um with that, and then I remember being like 7 or 8 years old and like JoJo was out, and um,
Jojo, yeah, with her
yeah, and
hats.
Yeah, Kelly Clarkson, and uh, then from there it was like I was in the prime age for Hannah Montana, so like Hannah Montana, like Miley Cyrus, love that woman so much. Um, and then from there, I was like becoming a teenager, and it was Ariana Grande was starting to really take off, and I also like Taylor Swift since I was probably like 10 or 11. I love Taylor Swift. I just saw her tour and it was amazing, and oh, I could go on for her about her forever. But um and I really love Bebe Rexha. I was actually at Bebe Rexha's show last night.
Well, I was gonna ask you about that because you put a
Yeah.
photo of you and her
Mhm.
on your social media.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Did you actually get to talk to her about music, or was it literally just like hi? And
Yeah,
then
so her and I have, well, this sounds weird. It sounds like we're friends. I don't know her in that way, but I have met her a few different times, and she always remembers me. I don't think she knows where we've met, but like I was waiting in the meet and greet line and she was like, "Oh my God, hi, it's been so long." And in my head, I'm like, "How do you remember me?" Like, like yes, we have met a few times, but every time we met, she remembered me. Like you could see it in her face that it was genuine. And I was like, "How? Like you meet so many people. How do you remember me?" I don't know. But um, so to answer your question, we didn't talk about music, like not my music anyway, but um, I have sang for her before, and a couple years ago, she was filming a documentary, and I was there, and I told her basically like I could send you the clip actually at another time, but um I was like, I want to be, like what you are to me to other people, and then she was like, oh, like sing something for me, and I was like, oh my God, like right now, like I was totally thrown off,
yeah,
but I did, and then they had me sign a waiver, and then they aired it in the documentary, so like I have sang for her before, and but I don't think she remembers. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think that she remembers that that's the same person. I think she just recognizes me from meeting me, but not necessarily remembering that. So um, but yeah, that was a cool moment,
that is
and
cool.
yeah,
That's
she's so
incredibly
awesome,
cool.
she really is.
What is it? What is it about those artists that really does it for you? And is an inspiration, I suppose, to you to do what you're trying to do now, which is to make it as an artist yourself.
So, I think each one of them has different things I really admire. Um, do you want me to do like go by person or just an overall?
Just yeah, go overall.
Um, I would say I really love their ability to be vulnerable, write their own music, and that's not to say that they have to write it themselves, like only, but to be a part of that writing process and be willing to try things that challenge them or that other people might tell them don't do it like because out of fear, but they're like, no, like I'm just going to do this, and whatever happens happens, like that fearlessness, and um just like speaking about things that they're passionate about, and giving the sense that they're a real person, because I think that in this industry it's very easy, and not just this industry, I think really just public figures in general, like they, you know to a regular person it almost feels like they're not real, because you see them, and you see them on TV, you see them on your phone, whatever, but I find that when people either meet someone or see them in concert or something, one of the first things that they say when they see the person is, "Oh my God, I can't believe that's really them." Like versus like if you saw somebody else on the street, like a regular person, you wouldn't think like that. It's just like, yeah, there they are. But like I find with artists, we kind of, or celebrities in general, we feel like they're almost not a real person because they're just, I don't know, we've never like it just feels far away for
Yeah,
lack of better wording, but um I love that they kind of remind you, either with their personality or their vulnerability in their music, that like they are real people, and they may live a very different lifestyle than we do, but they still go through things like we do, and especially the women in music that I really find interesting, that like how strong they are, because it's not an easy field for anybody, especially a woman. So I look up to that a lot because they stand their ground and they, you know, like they just keep going.
I've met enough celebrities over the years to know that they are just normal human beings. So I don't kind of get phased by celebrity status anymore. They normally get phased by me because I just ask them whatever I want.
Huh.
But ultimately,
That's
yeah.
awesome though.
But ultimately, I think there's kind of a middle level that people sometimes take as they start off quite humble, and then as they sort of there's a trajectory. Some people get lost in that middle bit. I think most people that have kind of made it tend to pull themselves back round, but there's a middle bit where sometimes people act a bit of an idiot between really starting off and kind of making it because they feel like they've got to live up to that celebrity status, which you don't. Any people out there that are like that, just drop it right now. It's an attitude.
Right.
Just get rid of it. That leads us nicely into, and thank you to Jonathan who's watching for this. You have absolutely a song Messed Up, which you were talking about, people being honest and vulnerable and everything else. That's a very honest and vulnerable song from yourself. Tell us a little bit about it.
So Messed Up is, so what's interesting about, well, I'll start with the writing part of it. That song is something that I wrote at a time where, to be truthful, it's actually, and sometimes I forget what I say in an interview, so it's possible I could have said something different earlier years before, and then as I'm older, I'm like, wait, no, what? But I wrote it about a friendship actually, and I was going through a lot, like mentally, and I didn't really have a sense of how to deal with that yet, and like how to work on myself and not let that kind of spill out onto my friendships, my relationships, my whatever, So um, unfortunately, I, did lose a friendship over that. And looking back now, it's very easy. When I wrote the song, I was in a place of kind of like just wanting to blame someone or either blame myself or blame the other person. And like looking at it now, years later, it's really not about blame. It's more about like, I was struggling at the time and I didn't know how to really deal with that. And also they didn't really know how to deal with that because that's not their role. I guess like you have to be there for your friends, of course, but that's not their role for me to get my stuff together. So I understand why things had to go down the way they did, but I wrote the song at a time of like a very emotional state. This was very new happening. Like, so there's a lot of emotion in there, a lot of like just like heaviness in there. And sometimes listening to it now, it's interesting because I'm in a different place now. So I can kind of step away from that and be like, wow, like that was a lot that was going on. And like now that I'm away from that cloud, it's weird. It's like I remember the experience, but it's not the same.
Songs are a bit funny like that though as well, aren't they? Because quite often they take a little while to give birth to, and then you give birth to them, and then they go out there into the world, and you expend all of that energy doing it, etc. And then they're either taken by people or not taken by people. But then you've kind of moved on from when you first did it, etc. At the same time, it's kind of then looking back on it, and it's like, wow, I went through that.
Yeah. But I think that in a way is powerful because, when you're in the middle of something, it can feel like you're just getting pulled down, like totally taken under. But as time goes on and you learn things and you gain clarity and just distance from the situation, like it can really lift up all the emotions behind it and the weight of it. So I feel like that is really important for anybody out there listening. Like if you are going through something right now that really feels like just overwhelming, like, try to please remember that like with time, these things aren't, this giant mountain that they were in that moment. So that's so important. And in terms of the release of Messed Up, like that was interesting too, because I actually so there's a music video version that we put out probably like 7 or 8 months ago, but the song version on the video is different than the version on streaming. And the reason for that is because I always wanted to do a video for Messed Up, but I I didn't. And then I went to go try to get the song placed, like for TV or something, and I couldn't because I actually bought the beat online. So they said because it's not an exclusive beat, which I'm saying this because I think other artists should know this so that they don't make the same mistake. Um, if you buy a beat like that, that some of these producers sell, like where anybody could buy it for, like it's not exclusive to you. If you try to go and pitch it, a lot of these companies or these, sync places, they don't want that because it's not exclusive to you. So it legally becomes a whole thing if they were to use it. Um, so then I had to remake the song. And at that point, I remade the song just for the sake of being able to do the video now. So there are two different versions out there.
It's very good advice.
Yeah.
And if you are making music out there and you are buying in those beats, etc., just watch it and watch the licensing thing. You'll soon know, as soon as you load it up to YouTube, it will tell you very quickly. The algorithm will pick it up.
Yeah.
Of course, there are loopholes in that. Like, if you're the Gorillas, for example, Damon Albarn, that wonderful example of him using the preset on the drum machine. And that literally was the first, that Gorillaz song. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that I'm not sure it would have worked back in the day when I started writing music with electronic instruments. I think virtually every keyboard, when I first bought a keyboard, had, and some people will remember this, Last Christmas by Wham as the preset.
Nice. Good song.
Yeah, but it was bad. It sounded bad because it was like press the button, it was dum 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 dum, and it was like, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Oh,
Been there.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting story. Yeah, it is advice for independent musicians. Don't make that same mistake. Make sure, or actually get a drummer. That's a good one.
Yeah, because like you can, if you want to practice your songwriting or you want to kind of get a sense sonically of what you like, you could totally write to these beats. The only thing is, if you go and try to pitch it now, that's where you're going to get held back. So it's not to say you can't, because you can. Like I was able to release Messed Up, the song, using that license. The only thing is I can't use it for like pitching things. So like it is fine to release it on like Apple Music or something, but it can only go so far depending on what you're looking to do with the song. So, but yeah, if people just want to write songs and release it, that's usually fine. It's just if you don't want to take that step later on, that's where you're going to probably have a hard time.
So what's the next step for Saturn? I mean, obviously you continue to do some of your own music on the internet, some other people's music as well. Oh, we haven't seen you cover a male yet. No?
I know. That's interesting that you say that because I've thought that to myself. I'm like, I always pick the female singers, but I think it's because I don't know what like range, I mean, I could always change the key and whatnot, but like
maybe
I find that it's like when I sing along to like the guys, like let's say like Justin Bieber or something, I have a hard time knowing where to sing it because it's either I go up an octave and it sounds weird, or I sing it where they are and it sounds weird. So I would have to like play around with it and really find a key that
or perhaps you could do a duet, or perhaps you could just pick something where it's falsetto, right?
Yeah.
For a male,
True. Yeah.
We could get you doing. We went to see Harry Styles at the weekend. You could do a bit of Harry Styles, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, he's great.
Yeah, we could get you to do that. That bit in Sign of the Times. The bullets up there. See, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anybody fancy doing a duet with Saturn Lane on a Harry Styles song? Do let us know.
Yeah, just send me a DM.
just for the fun of it. What comes next for you?
So I think I'm in a really cool space right now because I am just writing a lot of music. I'm also, and I forgot who said this. I don't know if it was like Camila Cabello or somebody, some artist that I listened to was saying that it's so important to live life too, because as a writer, you need things to write about. And if you, there was a while where all I would do would be either write or all I would do would be go to work. And that gets hard because after a while, you're kind of in a weird, like, stuck place where you either wrote everything you wanted to write about for now, or if, when I was only working and not writing any, like, and I took a break on writing, it was like just felt very like mundane. So now I feel like, especially like with summer coming up and everything, I'm trying to just really have a lot of adventures and like take, or even like try to find inspiration in ways that maybe I wouldn't normally think are um, something I would write about. Like maybe if I'm watching a TV show and I'm trying to think from the point of view of the character, like that's something I didn't usually ever do. I just only wrote about myself or like maybe from my friend's point of view or something. But I'm trying to get creative about ways to always have a topic to write about and not just the same couple of things.
Well, do you know what, that is precisely the advice that I give all my clients. Absolutely. I do social media for people. I run social media accounts for companies, bands, artists. And the one thing that I say out there, and this is advice for all of you out there, folks, don't do content, do activity. Fill your life with the stuff that you want to do. The content will come, right? How many people are just trying to produce something to fill that empty gap? You know, that Instagram space or that TikTok space or that, you know, whatever it is, space that's out there. You know, I've got to post something today. I've got to put something out there. Of course, it does. It becomes, you know, as a creative that works with other people and, you know, inspires ideas on a day-to-day basis. I can just see the difficulty that people have. They kind of the well dries up, you know. You go, but what did you do today? Well, I sat there at the computer. Yeah, of course the world's going to dry up. You're not seeing or doing anything. So I tell clients, go out there, do things, go to shows, go to gigs, go to you know, put on events, go and help with a charity, go and do this, go and do that. All of those things, because once you start doing those things, you've got something to talk about. Suddenly it's like anything. If you go and do something, you know, when you like, you know, you've got go and see a famous artist play live that weekend, you can't talk about anything else. You know, it's just like it's suddenly, and you come back and it's like, oh yeah, and it was brilliant. And then, you know, and then you start thinking about even like getting to the show, right? A little story for you all out there, folks, not eating into Saturn's time, but we saw something horrendous which will stick with us forever and a day on the way to the Harry Styles gig. We saw a baby that nearly fell out of a window. Seriously, this is absolutely serious.
How does that happen?
How does that happen, right? But literally, we were walking down the street. My wife saw this baby, and it was literally sort of doing this and whatever. She started going. She said to me, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Then we start shouting and whatever, and then people coming out this restaurant because it was over the top of a restaurant, had that canopy type thing, yeah. And then like now more and more people are gathering, and then, you know, everybody's like trying to shout at this baby, but it's kind of itching, it's putting its foot out. It's like, oh my goodness, seemed to go on forever. You know, like when time sort of stands still and it just feels like it's going on forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
It was probably only 5 minutes, but yeah. And then finally someone had obviously gone around the back, gone upstairs, knocked on the door, whatever, and then you saw this child yanks in. But the point is, that kind of thing, you only see things like that. Hopefully, I don't ever want to see that again. But you only see things if you go outside.
Right.
Right. And those things are big things. And those things are life-changing, and they will stick with you. And that gives you something to write about.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you say that happened on the way to the concert last night, and it's in the news right now. At the show, So I felt so bad. I really did because, Bebe is so nice and so talented and the show was so great and she literally was about to end it. And she just said to us, the best show of the whole tour, my hometown, like thank you guys so much. And she was literally getting ready to leave the stage and out of nowhere, because I was in the front row because like since I got the VIP, we were allowed in early. So I saw everything that happened. And out of nowhere, I just see something like go flying at her. And then she falls down and like I'm like looking around like what the hell just happened? So I'm thinking, oh maybe somebody threw like a gift that they made and their aim was bad and it just like hit her. And then I hear security going, who threw the phone? Who threw the phone? So I'm like, what the hell? Like what's going on? So then the security like gets the guy and they immediately like he's like kind of like fighting them and they take him out and then she like as she was saying goodbye, like literally was about to say thank you the last time and whatever, and she was just like saying like basically what a high this show was. Her team like immediately rushed her off to the side and like I read somewhere later on that apparently she went to the hospital and got like 3 stitches or something.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I'm like, what? And it was just so sad because it was such a great show and I was so happy for her. And like, she really deserved that. And then, because I don't know what words I'm allowed to say on this podcast, but like,
Just tried not to, but yeah,
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
don't
You know what
need
I'm
you
saying?
to. Yeah,
Like, I mean, what is wrong with people?
that's a good title for a song, though. Saturn.
Yeah.
What is wrong with
So,
people? By Saturn Lane,
yeah.
coming soon.
Oh my God. It's like a whole thesis statement I could fill out, but like, I just
Yeah,
felt so now, and it's in the news, like, about her, what happened last night, and it's crazy.
you have to get into that song. The line, you threw your phone. Yeah.
Um,
Somehow.
in
Anyway.
one version or another, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah, it might have some swear words in the next Saturn Lane song
Oh yeah,
about
yeah.
that particular one.
I'm bad with that. I'm. It's just I don't know if it's because I'm from New York. I don't know what it is, but I'm just you know.
That's fine. That's fine. Saturn uses a bit of saucy language from time to time. It's all good.
Yes.
It's all ketchup. It's all gravy. Saturn, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. The next song that's going to
Oh.
come out from you, can we know that? Do we know that?
Do I know that? I don't even know if I know that. I think I have one that I think I want to put out next.
Why would anyone want to throw a phone at a singer? Absolutely, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Why
Yeah,
would
I
anyone do
know.
that? Right?
It's scary. Like what? And this is her show, so if you're there and you don't like her, why are you there? You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. But the whole crowd was just jumping, 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 and then that happened. I mean, the song was over at that point, but it was like it just changed the entire vibe. Every was somber and like, oh my God, is she okay? Like, oh my God, like it just changed so fast that I was like, is this really happening? Like, oh my God,
Do you know what? When they find out what phone model that was, that phone company is going to get such a lot of bad press.
Yeah, the videos online, you could see like how hard it hits her. I mean, I saw it in person, but like
Well, that's a deadly
it's
object, right?
crazy.
That's a deadly object right there.
Yeah, going at that speed and whatever, like, oh my God, crazy.
We don't know what's the next song from Saturn, but we do know that she has got music out there at the moment.
Yes, I can tell you that I want to put out the next song that I would like to put out is called Free. I don't know if that will actually be the next one. That's the one that I'm hoping
It's
will be
called
the next
Free,
one.
as in not the
Yes.
number 3, but being free.
Free, like as in like freedom.
As in, yeah. As in,
Yeah.
I'm as free as a bird now.
Yeah.
Yeah, free.
So, yeah.
Not as in free, that's the magic number. Not that one.
No. Maybe I could write another one called 3 and then that's all credit to you,
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
But look out. Hopefully, if Saturn can, get help Saturn get free out. All right.
Yes.
That's what we really want to happen. So if you can help Saturn get free out, there's ways in which you can do this. One is you can stream everything that she's already put out now. That's available across all of the different platforms. Stream that a million times. It takes a lot of times streaming to get anybody any money these days, but if you could do that, that would be absolutely marvelous. Secondly, just send us some money. That would be wonderful as well. If you if you just want to sponsor a singer, just give some money to a singer, right?
Yeah.
It never hurts. But you should set up one of those coffee things, right? I don't know whether you've seen that, but where it's like buy me a coffee. I think that's a good idea. And then people can just send you a bit of money. Maybe Saturn might even get some merch at some point, and then you can buy some merch as well. Yeah,
that would be really cool. I would love that.
Yeah.
I want to know, where people who listen to me, where they are in the world. I mean, I see on analytics and stuff, but I want to talk to real people. Where are you guys from? Where would you want me to do a show?
Jonathan said, "Have you heard of Patreon?" Patreon, I think, is a great thing. I'm working with some artists on trying to get Patreon going for them at the moment. I think that's a really good way of doing it. Build a community, let people put into money. You give them exclusive access to stuff. I think it's a really great way of doing it.
Yeah.
People need to find their community. Everybody.
For sure.
So do what you can to support Saturn. Just start by having a conversation. Just say, let me PayPal you some money for a cup of coffee. Whatever it takes. But first and foremost, and most importantly of all, if you like Saturn's music, don't just sit there and listen to it and shout at the black box in the corner of the room. Tell her that you like it, because that's the important thing. It helps everybody's day. Everybody, this has been the wonderful Saturn Lane. I wish you all the best for the future. When you're up there supporting some of those people that you've talked about today, all right, then come back and talk to us.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much.
And tell us what it's like in the green room backstage.
Yeah.
At a Taylor Swift concert,
Yeah.
We're happily hang out at a Taylor Swift concert any day of the week.
Oh yeah, me too. But thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for everyone who was listening and writing in something, and who's checked out my music or who will check out my music, and I really appreciate it so much.
We appreciate you too. Thanks everybody for listening today. This has been My Music. If you've enjoyed this, it's My Music. If you haven't enjoyed this, then this is a instruction video on how to put up a greenhouse. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you later this afternoon with another of these. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you so much.